If I were to start over again with all my practices, I've been doing many things for decades. Practicing, well over 30 years. But if I was going to start again, what would be the one practice I would pick to start doing? And this isn't a practice that I would recommend just for beginners. This is even a practice I would recommend for advanced practitioners because it is that powerful. So what is this one practice? Well, if we think about it, meditation, mindfulness, yoga, mantra chanting, all these things. Now, they do have different meanings and different reasons for doing different things, especially for those that are deep into Eastern philosophies and ways of doing things. Yet for the Western culture, sorry, I'm having to look where I'm going down a hill. If I was to categorize all of these together, what is it, the one thing they do? I've said this before and I'll say this again, because they do one thing. We can look at the 104 practices that Osho took from the Upanishads. And each practice in itself is very powerful and each practice works. 104 different ways to get there. But again, for the Westerner, what is the one thing they all do? The aim of all those practices for the Westerner, it doesn't matter which one you do, is to quieten the mind. Because until we quieten the mind, we're just chasing at straws, really. Because in the West, everything is so in the head, in the mind, intellectualized, even to the point, we write a book and we have a bestseller. Oh, and therefore, that means we know something. Now we're someone to listen to. Well, it used to be. These days, it depends on how many subscribers someone has on a channel or something like that, but even more ridiculous. But they all serve to quieten the mind. But not only do we need to quieten the mind, because when we live in the mind our entire lives and we rationalize everything mentally, think about things logically, and we slowly lose contact with everything else. It's funny, if we look at energy healing, I've already got to look where I'm going now. Some people move a lot in energy healing sessions, and other people don't move very much. Yet if we compare people into categories, just generalize slightly, one of the type of people that generally, not always, tend to move more in an energy healing session would be people like dancers or people who dance a lot, because they are way more in contact with their body. They feel their body. And so when they feel their energy, the body naturally moves. So you might see where I'm taking this, or you might not. The one practice I would do is to practice getting out of the mind so it goes quiet. Now that could be, you might say, that's easily said and done. How do I do that? Well, first of all, we have to understand, because everyone says, death to the ego, kill the ego, blah, 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 all these things. Well, you're not going to kill the ego. Your ego is a built-in piece of software to keep you safe. That's its job. So if the job of the mind, if the job of the ego is to keep you safe, if you fight it, you're not going to win. So much like in many of my Reiki videos, I start with embrace the mind, love the mind, appreciate the mind, the ego. Thank it for taking care of you. So thank it for taking, but it doesn't do a very good job. Yeah, it might not do a very good job. You might have some really bad programming in there. But by just thanking it, it enables it to relax. So step one is to take a second and thank your ego for doing its job. Whether it does it well, whether it does it badly, it doesn't matter at this point. It's just to thank it, let it feel safe. Because when the ego feels safe and is no longer in self-protection mode, the narcissist is constantly in that mode, 100% of the time. That's one of the problems, they don't realize it. So allowing your ego to feel safe, it can go quiet. When the ego goes quiet, we can then just bring our awareness into our physical body. Spend time sitting, walking. The whole name, let's say, take mindfulness. It shouldn't be called mindfulness, it should be called mindlessness. Because it's about getting out of the mind and in, at the beginning, to the physical body. And just sit and just feel the temperature of the skin, the breeze. Just looking around, taking in the views. Just look. The beauty, the wonder of the world. If it's a sunset, even better. And just feel. Feel the body with the mind in a safe place. And then perhaps we can open our awareness a little bit more. Feel our emotions. Now if we've done this, our emotions are going to be, at the beginning, quite soft, quite steady, quite safe. But if we go deeper into our body, the whole practice of somatic release, we may find, when we get used to this, there are sort of heavinesses in our body, blocks as it were. And just by bringing our awareness to them and releasing them, you might find you release some emotions. Now, they might be tied to a memory, it might bring up memories, or it might not. It might be completely memory-free. But you can still release those traumas, you can still release those blocks. And we just sit through, and we just let it go. And yes, this could even lead to you going into spontaneous kriyas. Now everyone goes to things like Kundalini activation for spontaneous kriyas, because that's what it does. But by just getting in contact with the physical body, with those blocks, sitting with them, feeling into them, paying attention to them, just allowing them, by even just saying to them. You breathe in, you breathe out, and to that point you just say, relax, take a second, chill, open. Whatever suits you best in what you say. Whatever fits your personality best. It doesn't matter the words we say. And then we can start to release these things. And when we release these things, then we go into the next step. Because the next step allows us to, yes, feel more. And the more we feel, and the more we get in contact with our physical bodies, how does our breath feel? How does our heartbeat feel? How do our muscles feel? How do our bones feel? We can then start to become aware of a vibration, it's a vibration. Our etheric body. This is the base of feeling our energy. It's that simple. It's not about sitting and reciting some famous mantra, or going to a sound healing session, or going to a yoga class, or when I say yoga class, I mean class of asanas, calisthenics. But that, in turn, just much like a dance class or gymnastics or whatever, makes us get in touch with our body. Because we literally feel it. That's why it can be a very good and powerful thing. If we focus on our body when we're doing it, I'll say, oh, I'm a bit stiff here. No. Focus on opening and focus on releasing. Such a simple practice. And yet, you look at certain schools of non-dualism. They intellectualize everything. Because they intellectualize everything, they never get anywhere. And the few that do actually get somewhere with those practices, they've accidentally stumbled upon this or someone's told them. Otherwise, it's just intellectualizing things and it doesn't get them anywhere. You'll have yoga teachers that never do this. You'll have meditation teachers that, might be able to quieten their mind for 10, 15 minutes, maybe an hour. But then all they're doing is quietening the mind. They're still in the mind. So such a simple practice. Just sit and feel the body, learning to slowly open and feel into the emotions without the mind, without the memory. Releasing those things allows you to start feeling that vibration. And some people might say, yes, but I live in my mind, but I can also feel the vibration. Okay, great. Many Reiki practitioners live in the mind and they can feel that vibration. Many practitioners and energy healers can't actually feel the energy. They might pretend they can, but they can't. They might be able to send energy, but they can't actually feel it themselves. I know this, lots have admitted it to me when they come to my trainings because they wish to learn how to feel the energy. And it's sit in your body. Feel your body. Now, of course, if you suddenly go from living in the mind 24/7, and you've done it for 20, 30, 40, 60, 70 years, and you suddenly say, right, I'm going to sit and I'm just going to feel, you might find you don't get very far very quickly. Because they sit down for an hour and I'm going to do this, and then as soon as they sit down, well, the mind fights back, goes nuts, or their body starts itching, or that when you lift something up heavy and it's just when you're lifting it at the most awkward point, your nose starts itching. Or you're trying to learn to astral project and you must sit still or lie still to astral project. So your mind gets to a point saying, what's going on? I'm going to send the body an itch, and so you scratch it. Many people will argue, no, but that's the body adjusting. No, that's the mind playing tricks on you. So don't try and do this immediately saying, I'm going to sit down for an hour's practice. No. It's whilst you're walking around the supermarket, just feel your body. If you don't have to think, if you've got a list, you know where the things are, just walk around, feeling the body, almost like in a daydream, as it were, putting things in the trolley. You'll find it's much less stressful if you do it that way. Or go for a walk and do it. First thing in the morning when you wake up, feel into the body. Doing that for 5 minutes every day, You might find, if you do that at the beginning, so if you have to get up and go to work and you say, I'm going to lie down for 5 minutes and feel this, set an alarm, set that snooze button, because as you do it, you might find you fall straight back to sleep again. That's okay, your body needs it. Your body needs what it needs. Just because your mind's been programmed to say, I have to get up at this time. If your body needs the rest, it needs it. So just start small. 30 seconds. Feel the body. Doesn't take much. I'm walking along here, 30 seconds. Just feel the body. Can you do it having a conversation? I'm doing it now. But I'm not in the mind. The mind has gone, if we talk about the brain waves, I'm not in that rush beta state. The mind is in the alpha state. Calm, relaxed. And I'm doing quite a lot. I'm talking. I'm walking along a path that's quite difficult to walk along. But with practice, you can do these things and you can just be in the flow, in the zone, feeling the body. Then, eventually, with practice, feeling that vibration running through you. And as we go deeper, you may find when you do this, when you go to different places, you may start feeling differently in different places. You're slowly becoming more empathic. You're feeling the connection of that place. So if you go to powerful mountains, powerful deserts, powerful coastlines, powerful forests, you'll notice why you feel different. Those people who live in the city and go out for the day to the forest or the countryside and come back absolutely knackered, and they don't know why, because the body's been absorbing something, relaxation and rest, and the mind probably hasn't. Therefore, you feel exhausted and you don't know why. So start with 20, 30 seconds. 20, 30 times a day. And then turn those 20, 30 seconds into a minute. Maybe if you started 30 seconds, 30 times a day, do a minute, 15 times a day. Once you can do a minute, 15 times a day, do 2 minutes, 10 times a day. Oh, that doesn't work out mathematically. It doesn't matter. The whole point is we're extending it. And the reason we're doing it little and often is because the whole point is we want to get to a point where we can do this. We have to start with conscious consciousness and turn it into unconscious consciousness, i.e. creating muscle memory. So we get to the point where we can just be in this state all day, every day. And then as soon as we simply bring it into our awareness, we go much deeper, much faster. This alone is a very, very powerful technique. We could say in a way, Vipassana tries to do this in a very extreme way. So you sit for 6, 7, 10 hours a day, you don't move until basically you break this pattern of the mind. You don't need to do it in such an extreme way. Doing it 30 seconds, 30 times a day is a much easier way to start. Fits into your life. The deeper we do this, the more we go with this, the more is going to open up. So to every beginner, every intermediate, every advanced practitioner, make sure you're doing this, because it will have a huge impact in your life. And if this resonates with you, this idea, remember to subscribe to the channel. Perhaps click that like button, even hype it, comment, send it to people who are stressed out, because you might find it helps them more than you know. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in another one.